What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Battle of Central Europe Season 3. This is going to be Game 2 of the best of 2 between the HellRaisers and Virtus Pro Polar. Currently, HellRaisers 1-0 up in the series, and VPP, well, they can't play with their full lineup as TK Phobos had to go for whatever reason. They have Resolution of Empire standing in, and ordinarily stand-ins would be a little bit sketchy. It will throw your lineup for a loop, but I'm pretty sure like all these Russian players have been on a team with each other at some point just because of how often the scene is shuffled. So it should be fully functional for Virtus Pro Polar. Here on HeflaTV HB1, I'm Mike Loris, going to be one of your casters. I also have Grandis here, and man, I can only hope that game number 2 is as good as game number 1 because that was insane.
It really was. Both teams going back and forth. The team fights relied very heavily, at least for Virtus Pro Polar, on some really big teamfight ultimates, and when they connected, it was amazing. And when they didn't, it was HellRaisers to come ahead, and in the end, one Necrophos ultimate pretty much secured them the game. Even though they lose their PA, Anti-Mage was down for more than 130 seconds, so it actually just didn't matter, and they were able to bots of travel in by Necrobook Desolator and end out the throne. If you weren't here for game number 1, I definitely recommend going ahead and watching that. At least some of those team fights are quite impressive, and you can find those VODs at youtube.com/HeflaMoke later on in the evening. But as for this game, we're going to see the bans out from the Ogre Magi, Death Prophet, Io, and Brewmaster, leaving Razor first pick for Virtus Pro Polar.
And also, really quick, guys, this is technically still on the Season 2 iteration of the ticket because the Season 3 one has not been released by Valve just yet. So you could also watch the VODs if you have the Battle of Central Europe Season 2 ticket. It will be there, and you can watch it in-game. It's certainly worth your time. VPP, they're going to pick up the Razor, who was ignored for quite a long time in the last draft, if I remember correctly. Now prioritizing it rather heavily. Can't really go wrong with this hero. Ogre Magi also being banned out, unfortunately. Would have loved to see that hero, but HellRaisers have quite a wide selection available to them. And, well, I mean, they have quite a few heroes that worked out very well last game. It's going to be Avenge first for them, so making sure that Lil doesn't get his hands on that one. It's a pretty solid start, to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think HellRaisers are going to go for the puck, but it worked out for Virtus Pro Polar. At least that combination really shined, so maybe they will consider it. As far as other heroes, they're going to go for the Enigma. Very interesting. Faceless Void picked up by Virtus Pro Polar. This early Enigma pick is definitely punishable. It's okay since Vengeful Spirit can get a decent amount done just by herself, but I'm not sure if showing your cards this early is really going to work towards HellRaisers' favor.
I think they did this the other day, and they ended up going with the Nature's Prophet as well, and they had a Enigma Nature's Prophet kind of pseudo mass push strategy, not fully into it, just it kind of just happened that way. So that may be what they're looking to do right now. However, with the Faceless Void already on the table for VPP, the Nature's Prophet doesn't look as attractive, as you generally don't want to be facing up against blinkers as Nature's Prophet, and Faceless Void is one of the more dangerous ones at that. A blink into Chronosphere, or Time Walk rather, into Chronosphere, and the Nature's Prophet is not going to last very long. That being said, HellRaisers, as you said, have already showed off their hand, kind of. It is going to most likely be Enigma Jungle, Vengeful Spirit as your pretty much only real support hero as far as the lanes are concerned. So VP, the way that they could punish this is by being super aggressive with their own supports. Scarith Mage still in the pool, and it would be a good start for them.
Definitely, and also like a Sand King, another nice stunning support that can combo with the Faceless Void. Also an option, Jakiro is there. Can be played decently, aggressively with the Scarith Mage. But for HellRaisers, I think even though Nature's Prophet is a little less attractive with the Faceless Void, they still might consider going for it. And also Lycan's on the table. Even though Razor and Faceless Void are pretty good against the Lycan in a vacuum, the extra aura that he'd offer for his team, as well as just that Howl damage to Eidolons, would be pretty ridiculous.
And that would make Roshan just so much easier for HellRaisers. It is them on the Radiant, so Roshan is not going to be too easy, but hell, when you have Eidolons with Howl damage, anything is possible. You could tear down whatever you want, pretty much whenever you want. And, well, VPP, they have Razor as their AoE counter push versus unit-based pushing. That's pretty much it. If they do see a Nature's Prophet down the line, then AoE is going to be a higher priority for them, and really you don't want to be prioritizing AoE if you can avoid it, but Scarith Mage going to be banned out, and actually it's Virtus Pro Polar to take out the Naga Siren, so it seems like Illidan is not going to be playing that hero today. It would have been pretty annoying just for HellRaisers pushing to go with that hero, but VPP, they need aggressive supports, and HellRaisers, they can really just pick up anything, and it's up to VPP to be reactive in their picks.
Yeah, I think the Naga ban is more just to ensure the integrity of the Chronosphere, but as for HellRaisers, it's going to be a Magnus for them. Another huge ultimate that we're going to be dealing with inside the team fights. Between Chronosphere, Black Holes, and RPs, there's going to be no lack of huge AoE spells. Currently, the damage is pretty light inside those ultimates for both teams, and they'll probably look to remedy that in the next couple of picks. And Virtus Pro Polar, although not directly doing that, although Earth Splitter inside Chronosphere, as we saw earlier today, is a really nice combination, he's going to be buffing up the damage of the Razor and Faceless Void just with that aura, and it's a hero that Virtus Pro are fairly comfortable playing, and Lil does a pretty good job.
And because you know that the Enigma is going to be most likely jungling pretty passively, you know that the pressure on the lane is going to be relatively lax. So your Elder Titan, his weakest stage as a support is going to be the very early stages where he is a melee support, and he's probably not too happy about that. But what pressure is going to be applied to him? Probably not that much. Now HellRaisers pick up a Slark, so their kill potential in the laning stage is going to increase a little bit. And, you know, down the line, Slark is going to be a general nuisance from Virtus Pro, but they already have pretty much the best hero to deal with the Slark, the Faceless Void. And it's possible that Slark can just get around the Chronosphere with the help of Black Hole RP, but Virtus Pro, for the most part, are pretty well equipped to deal with what HellRaisers have right now, especially that Elder Titan Earth Splitter. Against Enigma and Magnus, it is going to be such a pain for HellRaisers to actually capitalize on those big ultimates, because it's either they sit there and try to damage the enemies while they're disabled, and then they get hit with the Earth Splitter, or they just dodge that entirely. It's really a no-win situation for HellRaisers if that happens.
Yeah, and I think that is fair. Despite having a really scary Slark, they're going to buff up his damage with Vengeful Spirit or Howl, as well as with the Empower. I don't think he's going to be able to do enough, and I do like Virtus Pro Polar's chances of this game, even though we've only seen their first three picks. Still lacking another support. They're not going to be playing as aggressively as they could have been, but instead are going to be capitalizing on the passive play by going for some passive plays of their own. Still presumably lacking a mid or safe lane hero as well, possibly for Illidan to stag up. I'm not exactly sure what they decide to go for, but as far as the other support, it would be nice to have some range, and I think this game, more than most, a Rubik would be really nice.
Yeah, you could steal Black Hole, you could steal RP, you could steal Pounce Shadow Dance from Slark. That's certainly very useful as well. They're going to go for the Puck as their final core hero. They obviously worked pretty well with it last game. However, they're without DK Phobos, their traditional Puck player. Mag is their usual secondary Puck player. Although with Resolution thrown in, who knows what's going to be going on with Virtus Pro's side. It's going to offer them a little bit more crowd control, which certainly they need right now. If nothing else, to interrupt Black Holes and stuff like that. Puck will be very nice in that regard, but their secondary support, whoever it may be, needs to have a disable, because Virtus Pro Polar, outside of Chronosphere and Ultimates, they are very disable light.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, it's going to be a Witch Doctor ban coming out from HellRaisers, so the Rubik is going to be available if Virtus Pro Polar want to go for it. And Witch Doctor comboed with the Faceless Void is a very scary hero, but I'm not sure if it's warranting the ban. As far as HellRaisers, their last hero is probably going to be another core, probably an offlaner for them. Still in the pool, Tidehunter is available, and if they really want to hit even more teamfight ultimates, they could go for it, but I'm not exactly sure where they want to go. I think Nature's Prophet would have been their top choice. But I don't know, you can't really overkill inside the team fight unless it's costing you damage, and I don't think going for the Tidehunter would be bad.
Tidehunter is never really a bad hero. It's very rare that you see a Tidehunter not fitting in, but Centaur, very similar in that pick, except more single target focused. I was literally just about to suggest Centaur as a pickup, not joking either. It's more initiation from HellRaisers. Between that, an eventual Blinking Mag, and a Blinking Enigma, random swaps, HellRaisers have quite a bit of initiating power, though into Virtus Pro Polar's lineup, initiating will be certainly very dangerous. HellRaisers have an extremely aggressive lineup. They could push decently with the Enigma. They will have a ton of hero killing power. Their lineup is pretty well rounded. If it does go to a late game scenario, Slark is going to have a lot of pressure on him to perform, but if you are going to put all your chips on one hero, then Slark is going to be a pretty safe bet, especially with that Shadow Dance.
Yeah. Virtus Pro Polar, not without tools to deal with this Slark. Even while he's Shadow Dance, you can still drop him inside a Dreamcool, Chronosphere. Getting off a link onto the Slark can really hinder his ability to get damage off. But I think in this game, scaling late is not going to be a real issue for HellRaisers, mostly because of the supporting cast that's just so great at capitalizing on mistakes when it comes to positioning, like a Magnus RP into the Black Hole, Centaur Hoof Stomp on top of it. You can't really go wrong. And then Slark's cleaving through all of that with Empower. It's going to be pretty impressive. Virtus Pro, their last pick is taking quite a bit longer than I thought it would. It might not be a Rubik for them after all if they're considering it this long.
it would be like a fairly safe support pickup if they want to go down that route. Other supports, I don't really know. With the Witch Doctor being banned out, their selection is rather thin. It is just going to be a Mirana. We have seen this before from Virtus Pro Polar. It was actually exactly with the Mirana Elder Titan combination, so they're going to fall back on it once again. Again, if a random stray arrow hits, you could very easily get kills. The hard part is landing those stray arrows, and the Mirana previously was okay at doing that. FNG's Mirana landed a couple arrows here and there, but it definitely wasn't too spectacular.
Yeah. If you do land those arrows, it's probably better than a Rubik, but I think just going for a more standard or more stable support is generally a better option. I could be completely wrong, and FNG just could be a baller this game and land every arrow left and right, but as for me, I think just going for things that are less prone to failure would have been better for them. That's still going to be seen inside the game. If FNG's on point, it's going to be a really nice game for him.
This game, much like the last time FNG played Mirana, they have really no setup for that hero. Time Walk, Echo Stomp, I don't know, it doesn't seem that great for Mirana setup. So it's mostly going to be Mirana just freehanding arrows, and well, previously we saw him probably miss more than he hit. Of course, the times he did hit, it was pretty nice, and you're going to be getting kills, yada yada. But still, it's going to be very much so a coin flip for FNG on this Mirana. Maybe he'll perform, maybe not. Who knows? He's going to go down to the bottom lane for now. Going to be joining Mag's Faceless Void. Over towards mid lane, it's going to be the stand-in Resolution playing on the Puck mid. Top lane, it's Lil on the Elder Titan, and Illidan Stormrage on the Razor.
And on the Radiant side, we are going to have HellRaisers with going towards the offlane Goretz playing on the Centaur Warrunner. Currently, the other four heroes are making their way down towards bottom lane. It looks like Ninja is going to be taking the mid lane on the Magnus. The other three being Slark, played by Artis, Enigma, played by Goddamn, leaving last but not least Vengeful Spirit, played by Dread.
Alright, so right now everyone's heading down towards the bottom lane. Goretz is going to be camping up towards top. If it does end up being a Centaur versus just a Razor, that's a bad matchup for Centaur. If it's Razor and Elder Titan, then it's even worse matchup for Centaur. Elder Titan probably just going to be going for the pulls. We saw this replicated in the last time VP went for a draft like this, except instead of Centaur, it was a Tidehunter, and Elder Titan did quite a bit of work there. It's a similar situation versus the Centaur. However, Boots first is going to mean that Lil's going to struggle to put sustained damage onto the Centaur. Regardless, I don't expect Goretz to get much out of this top lane. It's so hard to outlane a Razor as anyone, let alone a melee hero.
Yeah, definitely. And right now, the early rune's going to be set on by the Dire side. Double damage rune secured by Lil might be even better, but down in the bottom rune spot's going to be Vengeful Spirit getting bounty. Trading a couple of hits with, a mag because of it, but still, either team is going to get their hands on a rune. Probably more important for the Radiant side, but still, everybody's going to make it out towards their lanes. Mid lane matchup, Puck versus Magnus should be fairly even as far as the trades are concerned, and bottom lane, Faceless Void should be having a great time at all, although probably getting more than the Centaur out of the lane. That said, Enigma's kind of the X factor for HellRaisers in this early laning stage. Goddamn, currently his jungle isn't warded up at all, so he should have pretty free time. Although he hasn't made his way towards the jungle incredibly quickly, he should be able to do so fine. Arrow up top going to miss, the Hoof Stomp going to make sure that Goretz is going to make it under his tower safely, hardly dropping low.
You know, it's a first attempt at aggression, and honestly, there was no real way to get locked down on that Centaur. Running into someone and then trying to Echo Stomp, it's nice when it does happen, but it's very rare that it does. Arrows once again going to be thrown, and FNG is now 0 for 2 and completely out of mana. So Mirana, so far her roaming has been none too spectacular. Kind of par for the course, actually, but still, it's something you'd rather not have happen, as if either one of those arrows landed, it would have for sure been first blood onto the Centaur. She's still going to stay in the area and try to poke and prod at the Centaur or go mid, but I honestly don't know if Mirana's going to be able to accomplish anything. Mid lane kill is possible, although going for a courier might just be easier. Mirana is going to fire off one more. This time it's nowhere close to anything.
Yeah, right now. Just reiterating, if you do have the Season 2 ticket, you can watch Inside the Game client, but unfortunately, if you buy it now, you're probably not going to get much use out of it. Currently, Centaur trading hits again with FNG. Mirana this game just hasn't been able to find that opening at all, and that's probably to be expected. He's turning for one too many hits on his boots for his Centaur, and even though Mirana has boots of her own, can't really trade effectively here. And if Goretz had like level 2 or 3 and some mana, Mirana could have been in some trouble. Haste Rune picked up by Goretz, now going to return some harass, or maybe just secure some experience in lane.
Also, Lil, for whatever reason, used Echo Stomp and canceled it, so literally wasted mana right there and wasted a cooldown. So Goretz now with the Haste Rune is going to feel a little more comfortable getting experience in this lane. Still under no real pressure, and Well, same thing on the bottom lane. RT is under no real pressure, and if you're running an Enigma and you are not being pressured at all in your lanes, then that's pretty much nothing but a win for your side. That being said, the Illidan Razor is still, 12 for 11. He's getting everything he could possibly want. Mid lane, the Puck versus Mag matchup is going slightly in favor of Resolution, albeit not by much. So the early game laning is going to be, for the most part, fairly even. As far as triggers to start some aggression later on, Mag getting his level 6 can be a big one. Any arrow landing from VP Polar can also start a fight, but for HellRaisers, Blink on Centaur is a long ways away. Kind of the same thing for Mag. Maybe a fast Blink on Slark, although I think this might be a Hand of Midas game for Slark.
Yeah, I think so too. Right now he's pretty much getting unimpeded farm, although Mag can get more out of this lane than the Centaur can. Oh, lucky bash and arrow, Dread's gonna fall.
2 points in time lock, pretty nice, and now they're going to put a little bit of damage onto the Slark. Random bashes I did not account for when I was listing things that could start fights, but hey, I guess if you get a little bit too close as the Vengeful Spirit, you're not exactly that tanky, and Faceless Void does put out some pretty serious damage, especially if he does get a lucky bash here or there. So VP finally get that arrow to land, and they end up turning it into a kill, and well, top lane Goretz gonna have a lot of damage drained out from him. He doesn't have enough for a stomp. He's gonna get whipped down. Needs one more whip. There it is. Centaur is also going to be a casualty for the HellRaisers, and in the meantime, mid lane Resolution also getting a kill on Mag. So blood on all three of the lanes for Virtus Pro Polar after 3 minutes of nothing. Suddenly 3 kills.
Yeah, just like that, what used to be a fairly balanced early game is now tipped in the scales in the favor of Virtus Pro Polar, and Faceless Void's farming about the same rate as the Slark now. So everything just seems to be going right, although this can change with some nice rotations and counter kills going their way. Currently, Virtus Pro Polar can sit on the state of the game and just wait until another arrow lands, as long as they can avoid being killed by HellRaisers, which is honestly pretty easy. And now, this game isn't looking too attractive for a Midas on Slark. He'll pick up the power treads and potentially just save up for a blink.
And speaking of another arrow landing, Resolution is going to set up for potentially a coil onto Affinage. There is a Mirana in the area, however, Eidolons are going to make a pretty solid wall to prevent against that. Still Goretz on top lane. He's not getting that much of anything. Now getting even more damage drained out from Illidan. Level 4 on the Razor is going to pretty much be able to single-handedly take out the Centaur by himself without any sort of help. And little Mag on bottom lane is going to just be baiting for an arrow. If FNG can land this one, they could easily turn this into a kill, but Mag taking a little bit too much damage now. The magic missile, he has a time walk. He needs to use it like right now. He will. Arrow will be dodged by Arties, but he does pounce up into the tower. He's going to find a little bit of cover into the left side, but I think they might have enough damage to kill him off. Oh, Slark putting a lot of damage into that Mirana with those power treads, attack speed, and Mag is going to be safe. If that arrow landed, it would have for sure been a kill, but alas, that is not to be.
Yeah, right now Mag going to be reserved to using some of his Tengas to get back up into a healthy amount of HP, and if there was ban on Vengeful Spirit, maybe he would have been in a little bit of trouble, but no clarities or more sustain on Tread will mean that Faceless Void, even though he's low, can still sit around this lane, and Artis, if he eats an arrow, could be in trouble if he doesn't get that Dark Pact off in time, although now it does have the levels to back that up. Speaking of Midases, as we were talking about earlier, one is going to be picked up by the Razors. He's had pretty much a free time, but it's Puck again to get the kill. This time it's on the Centaur as he makes a rotation up towards top.
Resolution had some pretty big shoes to fill. Oh, bottom lane, Arties. He's going to get Chronosphered. He will survive for a little while longer. Arrow's already been used. He has no Shadow Dance. Needs one more hit. Poor man's shield value. Saving his life once. Will not save his life again. Obviously, try to go for FNG. Will not get the kill. Now FNG trying to hide in the corner. Will not happen. Mag still trying to duel up against Dread. Eidolons are being summoned, but with the time walk and the backtrack available, he will be able to slip away. And actually, Puck getting another kill. My god, what happened to Mag? I have no idea. Sorry about that, guys. But the haste rune is going to go right back up to the top lane, look for Goretz. Still has a coil available. And it looks like this should be a pretty easy setup. Coil onto Goretz. He has nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, no damage either. He's going to be brought down to double kill for Resolution. Very delayed, but it's a double kill nonetheless. TP up to the top lane. And it's Arties. Can do literally nothing up here to counter kill anything. And Resolution, I was just about to say he had some pretty big shoes to fill after DK Phobos' performance, but hell, if anyone can do it, it's going to be Resolution, and he's doing a fantastic job so far. He's very close to his Blink Dagger 7 minutes into the game.
Yeah, as you were saying before, Resolution, he had some pretty big shoes to fill in DK Phobos' Puck that was performing really well. He's, I don't know, just finding all of these openings around the map, solo killing the Magnus twice, making good rotations. It just seems to be working out for him.
And FNG, he's looking to go to the mid lane once again, although no, just going to lay down an Observer Ward here and there. Without the Puck or Razor, it's really hard to capitalize on an arrow landing, especially the Elder Titan by himself. He can't do it. He's just sitting in the mid lane to get a little bit more experience. Affinage, I mean, he's doing decently enough in the mid lane, has died twice, mostly to the puck, and he's very far away from a Blink Dagger of his own, yet he still does have RP, and you can never underestimate the power of just a random RP landing. However, that being said, bottom lane is going to be converged upon. I think this was spotted by an Observer Ward, but Goretz is in quite a bit of trouble. Only level 3 Centaur, going to run straight into a Mirana. If arrow lands, then it's going to be the death of the Centaur. However, that arrow really should not be landing. Oh, it's still FNG hunting, and he's actually going to be surrounded in a hurry. He has Enigma right behind him, though he does not know about this. Black Hole is up on the Enigma, and FNG Resolution, they're going to catch them with a two-man coil. Black Hole only onto FNG, is going to get the Volt channel off, but it's not really going to do too much. Magic Missile is going to be thrown, and that will be the death of Mirana. Now stun onto Goretz. Nice Chronosphere from Mag, though. Going to bail out Resolution. Now going to try to go for Dread. They will get 2 kills. Mag is going to collect them both, and Resolution survives. It's a nice trade, and only for a Mirana. I would take that any day of the week.
Absolutely, especially since Black Hole was spent. There's just not much more you can ask for. It's Virtus Pro Polar just finding everything out of this map. Their Faceless Void is getting a lot of gold, currently sitting on 13, almost 1400 after Power Tread's Orb of Venom. Just getting more than their counterparts on the enemy's side, and although Enigma had a pretty good time farming in the early game, hasn't been able to transition that into anything meaningful, and his rotations just haven't worked out. Virtus Pro Polar, even though they don't have the cleanest of synergies in their heroes, they're set up for a very scary early mid game.
Yeah, and it is working out already for them. Once they get the Blink Dagger on the puck, it's going to be even more dangerous. Like, they don't even have many levels in the Elder Titan, so the damage that the puck can put out is going to only increase from here on in. He has the maxed out Waning Rift, so silencing someone like Slark is going to be absolutely instrumental, and, you know, Orb is going to get a little bit more powerful as well. And VP, I mean, even with all these kills going to them, they're still out farming HellRaisers in the they're still out farming HellRaisers, so not only are they getting the additional golden experience from kills, they're also getting the creep advantage. Nothing's going wrong for them right now. Maybe they could do a little bit better at shutting down Goddamn, but Enigma is not the type of hero that could single-handedly pull the game back with a little bit of farm. He needs a hell of a lot of farm if he's going to do that. Mech is a nice start, but it's going to mostly be up to the Slark, the Centaur, and the Mag to make things happen, and Centaur is only level 4 right now. He's not going to have anything going for him for a very long time.
Yeah, definitely. He has the Tranquil Boots, but that's about it. Man fighting up against the Centaur. If he gets bashed, this might set up a kill, although the Mirana is way too far away. Currently fishing for the Enigma. No arrow is going to land, and no kills are going to happen for now, but Mag is just bullying the Centaur, and he's going to go back for a hand of Midas, and he can afford to do so, even though it's 10 minutes. Afo Ninja's farming up inside his own jungle as we have a little bit of skirmish potentially going through as Mirana's dropping low, but a leap over the trees will keep herself safe. Now with the Malefice, it is going to be the end of Mirana's life. The arrow misses, but now Dread is going to fall to the Mind of Resolution, drops a Dream Coil onto Goddamn. TP attempt might be successful due to have a Chronosphere. They will spend it, trapping Resolution as well, but securing the secondary kill as well. Again, Mirana for Chew the trade. Hoofstomp from the Centaur misses, and now Goretz, he just can't survive. Resolution gets the nukes off. Now he's going to be able to jaunt towards its orb. Silence and Artist, they can't chase him down. It's an unstoppable spree for Resolution. Getting the Blink Dagger, he should be able to get out safely and potentially looks for another turn. Pounce onto the other Titan. They're going to sleep up Artist. Now the jump in from the Magnus. They'll be able to kill off Lil fairly easily with one more Shockwave. Mag gets Magic Missile up. He's completely out of mana except for enough for one more Time Walk. Jumping for Resolution. Destroys up the Slark and now is able to blink away safely. Now arrow landing on After Ninja. Mirana is back into this fight, although it might only be to save Resolution. Resolution is poised to strike, but is going to be back to the base after such a long engagement.
Man, Resolution got like, what, 4 or 5 Orb Silence combos off, and that does a hell of a lot of damage. 7-0-3 now, picking up the Blink Dagger mid-fight and showing it off, even killing off the Slark, which is one of the more high-priority kills that you can take. Mag survives, and the Puck survives. I mean, Lil is a sacrifice for VP Polar, but it's an Elder Titan support. You're okay losing this hero if it means making good trades, and certainly that is exactly what it meant. Illidan wasn't even a part of this fight, and VP Polar, with the advantage that they have right now, they are translating that into Hands of Midas. If they take this into a late game, yes, Slark is pretty dangerous, but man, VP, they're just so much more so. So this is looking pretty bad for HellRaisers. They need to make something happen, maybe off a Black Hole, but I mean, Goretz, he's nowhere close to his Blink Dagger, and he's now dead for the 6th time this game. Mirana this time is going to get the last hit, but this Centaur has been utterly shut down.
Yeah, usually Hand of Midas is more of a investment item, but this game it's like insurance for Virtus Pro Polar. They're winning fights with these Hands of Midas, and even if you take the 2,000 gold that they invested into that item off of their net worth, they're still sitting comfortably on top of HellRaisers, and able to just outmaneuver him. Everybody that has the Hand of Midas has items to help them fight as well, and it's just going to get even worse as time goes on for HellRaisers, and they need to find some really amazing combos coming out from their big team fight ultimates, and that's going to start with the Blink Dagger on the Magnus coming out shortly. He does have that, and I think they just need the miracle combination. They have the team in order to do that. But still, if you're already relying on like the 3-man RPs, 3-man black holes to land, it's not a great game for you.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be very difficult. They need one more creep kill on Centaur Warrunner. That's his level 6 as well, so now they have a couple of tools here and there, but Artie's on the top lane. He's going to go into the Shadow Dance, prompting a teleportation from everyone from HellRaisers. Everyone from VP, though, very quick. Both Razor and Puck with a haste rune are going to slip out of there, so forcing out 2 or 3 TPs. I believe it was 3, actually. That was a very expensive save of the Slark. I mean, even though VP don't get the kill, they're kind of be upset about that. That's a lot of gold that HellRaisers are going to spend to defend themselves, and it's a necessity for sure, but it's an expensive necessity at that. They're also going to teleport down to the bottom lane where Mag has a Chronosphere, wants to use it to get this tower destruction, and Affinage is actually going to blink right into the Chronosphere. Artis is going to, well, first of all, Affinage is going to miss the Chronosphere. Artis is going to drop pretty low, but he will get the tower deny. Affinage, though, now in an awkward position, will get the Skewer back onto Mag. He will time walk out, trying to TP. I think he will be just fine. Artis needs a very long pound. Shockwave is going to kill off the Faceless Void. It's finally a pick off for HellRaisers, even after a missed RP. Mirana is going to teleport straight home. VP Polar, they don't end up getting the tower destruction, and they lose their Faceless Void. Probably the worst fight they have so far, but they're going to get something. It's, of course, going to be the Centaur, because it's always the Centaur.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the game, it's so hard for you to find any room on the map to be safe. When you're already 1-6, getting that 7th death, it doesn't matter much. If we ignore the fact that Mag misses his RP, that went really well for HellRaisers. They get the deny, they get the kill, and I suppose using an ultimate for a kill, even though it didn't combo together that way, it's still going to be worthwhile, especially since they're behind. They just need a lot more of that, and unfortunately for them, it's a minute till they have that reverse polarity up again.
Chronosphere was also used there, 45 seconds till that's up, but they're going to try to go for this push. Eidolons are nice and everything, plus they have the mechanism from Enigma, so they might be able to take this, but it's just a matter of time before Resolution has his coil back up, and it's a 3rd Hand of Midas for the Puck this time. Even though it's not DK Phobos playing, it certainly does feel like it with his item build. This is the DK Phobos item builder, at least the build has been going for the Puck, and Resolution is going to jump aboard the gold train. This is going to mean that late game, there is really no chance for HellRaisers to take it. It was a nice start in the bottom lane. They just need to do that 2 or 3 or 5 more times.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm completely fine with the Midas on Puck. I actually quite like it. I think it's a good choice, especially when you're ahead. Getting a Blink Dagger is pretty much all you need. And as long as you don't go for the Midas first on Puck, you're not harming your impact on the game very much. And it'll just mean a faster Scythe, Refresher Ags, whatever your choice may be later on.
I don't think we're going to see an Aghanim's, although I would love to. There's no synergy in this game. Still, it is a viable item, I would say. If you're keeping everyone in tight quarters, the Elder Titan is going to have a much better time. So is the Razor and Faceless Void. So who knows? It might be a possibility for Resolution down the line. I mean, at bare minimum, you get a Sheep Stick, and oh no, you're forced to get a Sheep Stick. What a tragedy.
Pretty much. I think Shiva's is the more likely item in this game, but whatever it is, it's going to be some big ticket items that Puck usually doesn't get enough gold for, and this game he will.
And Centaur 1-7-0, 24 CS, still is nowhere close to his Blink Dagger. In fact, their support Elder Titan for VP Polar is ahead of the Centaur, and he's going to Lil just progress onwards with his Eul Scepter build. Honestly, I don't know what Lil likes to get after this Eul Scepter, but it doesn't really matter. Having that item on Elder Titan means that he could set up stuff pretty much just by himself, and he's been jungling for pretty much the better part of this game. It's something that Elder Titan can do because of the damage from the Astral Spirit. It does cost him quite a bit of health to do so. It's not really a safe jungle, but if no pressure is applied to the Elder Titan, extra levels, extra gold is going to come in very handy for him and for the rest of his team, benefiting from that natural order as well.
Yeah, there's just nothing that's really going poorly for Virtus Pro Polar. Slark's finding some farm in bottom, but there's always a threat that the Puck can jump onto him if there's backup rotated in. But everybody's finding something. Even the Mirana has power treads on top of a Wraith Band, and she's been the one buying words. And I don't know, just looking really good for them. The Elder Titan is dropping low because of his jungle farm, but currently it's the Moonlight Shadow being spent. They're stalking the Slark, and now Puck going to make an opening on Artist. Only drops the Silence first, does have an orb available as well as a Dream Coil, but no mana. So Slark's going to be able to make his way out with that Shadow Dance as well as a regen, but the arrow beautifully shot, and now with the Puck jumping in, an Earth Splitter from long range, not going to get the kill. Actually, it is. Wow. Lil going to snipe him.
Nice kill steal, Lil. Very well done. In the meantime, top lane, Mag trying to kill off Goretz, but he bit off way more than he could do. He will get the kill in the end, though. I think a random range creep ended up sealing the deal on the Centaur, so of course Centaur is going to die, but at least he gets something before he goes down. Mag, with the Mask of Madness and the Mithril Hammer, doing quite a bit of damage, just not quite enough with that many rotations. Yet it is still Virtus Pro Polar to, at the very least, kill off the Slark, and he's going to be the most dangerous hero from HellRaisers moving forward, and if you keep him down, then it's going to be just golden for Virtus Pro Polar. I was going to say something about something. I completely forgot, though. I was going to say Mirana would have been one of the heroes that I thought would go for Hanamitis, as she really could use one right now. It's a long ways away if she does want to go for it, but as far as heroes that could benefit from extra gold guaranteed, a support Mirana is on the top of that chart.
Definitely. Aghanim Scepter now completed by the Razor. The big items are starting to come out for them, and currently Razor is almost doubling up the net worth of the Slark, a little bit less than that. But you still kind of get the picture. It's a completed item that Slark doesn't have, and this Slark's going for a Shadow Blade, which is a nice item when you're ahead, but when you're behind, I just don't see it. Swap onto the Enigma is going to secure the end of Dread's life as he's being zapped down by that Aghanim Scepter, Eye of the Storm. Too much damage. Artist joining the fray, does get a pounce off on Illidan, and now with the Shockwave, they're doing a decent amount of damage. Malefice is going to slow him down as well. There's just not enough help for Illidan. He will fall, but in the meantime, it's Puck doing the cleanup. TP away from Goddam is going to save him. No, the arrow from Rana is going to secure his fate. It's a 2-for-3 trade, which is probably better than HellRaisers could have hoped for in their normal circumstances, but still, Virtus Pro Polar, I think they come out ahead.
Yeah, it's still a nice fight for Virtus Pro Polar. It's the best fight that HellRaisers could have hoped for, given the situation, and although Mag, he wants to go for Goretz, or does he? No, he's going to fall back, but either way, they take the Razor, which for HellRaisers is the biggest win that they've had in quite a long time, but still the Puck survives. And quite frankly, the Razor was pretty much screwed to begin with. Like, once he got pounced upon by Arties, it was all over. FNG's in quite a bit of trouble. Packed 8 HP, the Mirana is going to survive. Has an arrow to turn around for, but probably isn't the best idea. She's going to probably throw it. Arties will pounce away. Now the arrow. Here it comes, and Arties should see this one coming. It's going to, just time out before it could land. But in the meantime, Mag going to try to go for a solo kill onto Goretz. This time, he's going to bail out before he's in any sort of trouble. Skewer forward from Alpha Ninja is going to miss. Man, as soon as Mag loses that Chronosphere, he gets a Maelstrom delivered to him. Kind of unfortunate for him, but either way, the Centaur is going to get a little bit more time to maybe farm a Blink Dagger, and once that happens, then maybe HellRaisers can get something going, but for right now, VP Polar have just complete control of the entire map.
Yeah, it really is the case, and I don't expect that to change anytime soon. Eul's Scepter is going to be the first item choice for the Puck, and right now that's going to be one of the most cost-efficient items that he can go for. It's more setup for those arrows, for those Echo Stomps, and it's just really scary. They're going to be collapsing upon Mag inside the Radiant Jungle, but Mirana Ultimate's going to mean that he's out there free. Or is he? He's stalking Dread, doesn't get the body block in, and Mag's going to escape, and everybody else is going to retreat.
Mag is just buying so much space for Virtus Pro Polar right now. They're trying to go for this Faceless Void, as well they should, but they just can't find him. Like, he's keeping himself elusive, he's threatening Chronosphere kills, and he's farming your jungle, which is gold that you would like to take and not give away to the enemy team. So Mag is basically playing an anti-mage right now, as far as, pulling the attention away from everyone else for HellRaisers and being a general nuisance for them. And while that's happening, while Mag is being nuisance down in the bottom half of the map, the rest of VP Polar, they're poking and prodding up towards top. They're not going to capitalize on anything just yet. Arrow wasn't thrown, or not enough arrows were thrown to land. But still, they're getting quite a bit of farm. And Mag, I mean, he's buying all the space, but it's not costing him anything. In fact, he's gaining a lot.
Yeah, second net worth in the game. As the space creator goes, I think this is about as happy as you can be. And Slark, again, pursuing him. Newly acquired Shadowblade in tow. I don't think he can solo kill Mag. The Time Walk away should be able to keep him safe, and I think at worst he's going to be collapsed upon. We do have a Magic Missile as well to follow us up, but it's going to stun him on the low ground, and Mag is out scot-free.
I mean, you have to go for these attempts if you're HellRaisers. You can't afford to just sit back and let the Faceless Void free farm. Even if it is just a jungle, you have to shut them out of your jungle. You have to take some semblance of map control, and if you aren't going for the Faceless Void attempts, then what the hell are you doing with your life? So it's a nice attempt for sure, but for HellRaisers, it's just not going to be happening anytime soon. Goretz does have his Blink Dagger finally, but it took him 22 minutes to do so. And even if he gets a blink on someone, it's no guarantee that they're going to get the kill. Like Puck, though he will take a lot of damage, has a Yule Scepter and Phase Shift, and a Blink Dagger. He's going to have so much time to do whatever he wants, like Phase Shift, Yule Scepter, Phase Shift, and HellRaisers, the rest of the heroes, are going to awkwardly stand there while they can't really do anything to interrupt the Puck in doing so. So this is a nice item for Centaur for sure, but there's no guarantee that it'll work, as normally there is a guarantee that an early Blink Dagger on Centaur will get you a couple of kills here and there.
Yeah. But this Blink Dagger is anything but early. I think the only hero that they can reliably initiate on and get kills on is the Elder Titan in Lil. He's far enough back, and even he has the Yule Scepter to avoid that Stomp Double Edge if it does come out. I mean, if he uses Yules too early, he might be setting up for himself, but as long as Lil's on the backlines, I don't think they can get the kill, and it's unlikely they'll find Elder Titan out solo anymore. Since he does have his levels from the jungle, I think he's going to be sticking around with his buddies.
Mag in quite a bit of trouble, will TP out. There is just enough stun. He gets swapped out and has a Chronosphere, but he will not be able to use it. It took everyone from HellRaisers to shut down that Faceless Void, and though they do get him in the end, it took them quite a long time. They might get a tower off of this, but it will not be for free. Mid lane tower was in deny range, but HellRaisers, for whatever reason, did not deny it. Now it's going to be a tower destruction, and I think VP Polar, even without their Chronosphere, they can still make a defense here. They have to worry about blinking RPs, blinking Centaurs, but as long as Puck gets to jump in, or if they have an Echo Slam, RT's already dead. Magic Missile is going to be dodged by the Puck. He's also going to dodge a Skewer by Aphroninge. They can no longer fight HellRaisers. They have to back up, else they face another initiation from the Puck. Arrows are constantly going to be shot and scouting. And Lil, he has Yule Scepter, is going to find Goddamn, and the Enigma really has no way of getting out from this. He's going to get woken up from the sleep by the Orb, but Resolution going to give chase. Blink forward from Goretz, and that's going to be the death of the Puck. All alone down the low ground. Where the hell is Illidan? He's pushing down mid lane in the meantime. VP Polar with only 2 heroes can no longer afford to defend, but it's going to be, even if this tower goes down, a 2-for-1 tower trade.
Yeah, tier 2 tower in mid hasn't fallen yet, and a black hole solo onto Illidan just to buy time for these TPs. They don't have Magic Missile in range, and now no mana for it. They have a swap, and that's it. And now they can't use it. They're going to look to stun down Illidan. He's too tanky. Negative Earn Charge Skewer is going to do him in after all of that, and they'll be able to get the tower denied, potentially no 8 HP away from that threshold. It's really risky for VP Polar to be fighting like that. They take some really risky engagements that might have worked out. Mag is currently stuck inside the trees. They're chasing down something, but that something's already TP'd back to base.
Centaur using his Blink Dagger that actually was used defensively, and it kept him alive. VP, they don't get the mid lane tower, unfortunately. Fortunately for them, though, it is not quite yet in deny range. I think for VP, though it is nice to take down these towers, it would have been so much easier if Illidan was actually in that bottom lane fight. He could have cleaned up so many heroes so easily. And nope, Slark, he's going to find a free pickoff on the Mirana. And actually, HellRaisers, they're starting to get something going here and there. Still no direct towers being picked up just yet, but they're getting pickoffs, and killing off Illidan, who, even though he does have his Aghanim Scepter, doesn't have a mech or anything like that, so he's not hugely tanky. These are nice pickoffs for HellRaisers. If they could continue to make that happen, then they could claw their way back into this game.
Yeah, and since they are behind, they're getting a lot of gold from these kills. Centaur, who is struggling to get a Blink Dagger at 20, now has a completed 4-staff in 5 minutes, which is very impressive farm, mostly due to the kills that he was involved in and surviving that last time, but still, there is chance for Virtus Pro Polar to lose their grip onto this game. Although they're still definitely in the driver's seat, they need to make sure that they don't do something too risky. I don't think Roshan is that risky of a prospect for them, especially since they're going to find Dread. RP solo on Illidan, but there's no follow-up jump in. Chronosphere onto literally nothing except for Goddamn. He's snapped back into it by the Earth Splitter, but it's not enough damage. In the meantime, Aphroninge eating a lot from that Razor Eye of the Storm. Artist trying to man fight. He does get the kill on Illidan, but now being punched by Lil. The pounce away from Slark's going to survive within inches of his life, and now in the meantime, Mag going to be dropped by his Shockwave. Somehow HellRaisers are doing it.
Wow, those ultimates and big AoE spells from VP, even though they landed on very few heroes, kind of the same thing from HellRaisers, but they dodged the stomp. They Chronosphere only landed on 1. The splits from HellRaisers was absolutely impeccable, and they picked off and focused down Razor in quite a hurry, and as I said, he's not that tanky if you actually manage to focus him down, and they did just that, so it ends up being, what, a 4-for-1, 3-for-1 trade in favor of HellRaisers, plus a tier 1 tower to boot. RT's, playing the Slark pretty much as you should be, diving in for the first initial bursts of damage, and then peeling away when you have very low HP. VP, they almost brought down the Slark, but that doesn't actually mean anything, and they get their Roshan denied from them, and they lose a couple heroes here and there. They're still on top of the net worth chart with the Puck, Razor, and Faceless Void, but HellRaisers, they're slowly bringing it back. What was once a 12k advantage in net worth is now dipping down to 6k. Kind of the same thing for experience.
experience is almost zeroed out after it completely updates. It'll probably be about 2,000, which is incredible. HellRaisers are finding these engagements, and for the longest time, it didn't look like Virtus Pro Polar would give them those openings. Roshan's still going to be attempted by VPP, and without a black hole available immediately and an RP still cooling down, they might be able to get away with it, but is it fast enough? Let's see. It is dropping, and they're not in immediate position to go in here. Even though Aponinch has an invis rune, he's not comfortable going into this pit. Still, they should know this is going on. Arrow throwing out from the Mirana, not going to land anything. Swap in the backlines. They found nothing except for Mirana is able to leap down to the low ground. Aegis now in the Faceless Void. It's in the meantime Elder Titan to drop to the Centaur. Solo now jump in. RP onto 3. Black Hole onto 3 with the Shockwave Skewer and the Eye of the Storm doing almost nothing. Magic Missile ending that Aegis on the Faceless Void. And now they're going to be able to clean up a second time. Hoof Stomp onto the Aegis. Respawn. Time Walk away. He's not going to get stunned, but the Blink Daggers galore coming out from HellRaisers. Should be able to kill off Mag. Force Staff forward. They just need a cooldown on any of the lockdown spells. Double Edge, Shockwave. They're going to be able to clean him up in a full 5-man wipe. As even with an Aegis Virtus Pro Polar, despite a really clumped up spot, starting up beautifully for HellRaisers.
Oh man, I mean those ultimates from HellRaisers don't really get much better than that. The RP into the black hole, absolutely perfect, and well, Virtus Pro Polar, well, they're going to very quickly lose any advantages that they really had. I'm pretty sure at this point the game is perfectly even. Maybe this game going for this many Hands of Vitus, not the best idea. I mean, they have, I think, at this point, are very close to paying for themselves, but that's about it. I mean, they have, in theory, a lot of gold, a lot of income, but what is that income actually doing for them? If they had actually items that would help them more directly in these fights, then it'll be going much better for Virtus Pro Polar. But now Lil, he's going to get ambushed by RTs, will save himself a little bit of time with the Eul Scepter, but Shadow Walk is going to ensure that kill, will dodge an arrow on the way out. Now HellRaisers have pretty much all but tied up the score, and yeah, just like that, net worth 0, experience in favor of HellRaisers, and it's going to be even more so since they are going to take this tier 2 mid lane tower as well. Though Resolution finally ending a decent coil, will snap it onto Afoninj and Goretz both. Can they actually get anything done? Arrow is going to fly onto Goretz, chain stun him for a very long time, and Mag is going to go to town on the Centaur. Mech is going to keep him up for just a little while longer. Now Stampede, and Goretz is home free after killing off Mag. Skewer back onto Illidan Stormrage. He's going to take a lot of damage. He will go down as well. That's a 3-for-1 trade. HellRaisers taking good trade upon good trade. And even though Virtus Pro get a 2-man coil and a decent start to that fight, it just wasn't enough.
It really wasn't. Immediately, now we have a BKB on our Enigma. We have a completed Scotty, or if he wants it, almost completed Scotty on Artist. He's going to be sending that to himself out on the courier shortly as soon as he cleans up 1 or 2 more camps. The items are coming out very fast for HellRaisers, and it's games like this that kind of make me question Midas as an item, especially with the changes to when you're behind, and if you lose a fight, it's just so much, or if you win a fight, it's so much better for you. And HellRaisers are showing that in like 3 team fights, they may be able to pare down a 12,000 lead. And although it's not as ridiculous as when it first came out, I think this is, I don't know, warranted. Virtus Pro Polar, they need to be so careful about not giving up that advantage. And now it is pretty much completely gone. In fact, it's an advantage for HellRaisers.
Okay, so now that it is an advantage for HellRaisers, Virtus Pro Polar, they still have mechanics and tools in order to get themselves back into this game. A coil from Resolution, a Faceless Void, Chronosphere, these are all huge tools that could pretty much instantly win you fights. And if they land a good fight, then they could very easily swing this game back in their favor. However, HellRaisers, they're playing in such a way that there's really no way for VP Polar to land those good Chronospheres, to land those good coils. 2-man is about as good as you could expect at this stage, considering how well positioned HellRaisers are. And they need like a 3-4-man and everything of every one of those big ultimates if they actually want to take fights convincingly. Virtus Pro Polar, I mean, I don't know. I think this might have gone all the way back to the fact that that point where Razor was pushing mid lane and the rest of the team was kind of dying down bot trying to hold that tier 1. I feel like since then, nothing has gone right for Virtus Pro.
Yeah. Virtus Pro, they're going to get a Scythe on the puck, which is another tool that they can use to find those openings. But Slark, oh, ship's passing the night as Invis Slark and Invis Lil are going to walk by each other none the wiser. Arrow thrown out by the Mirana, doesn't land on anything and doesn't scout anything out either. For now, it's HellRaisers now at the momentum, and they'll be able to start pushing down the mid lane. Jump in, hoof stomp onto Mag, dropping in a heartbeat. He is going to die as Gorik drops that last hit. Stomp from the Elder Titans completely avoided, and Mag, time and time again, has found himself out of position with this item build. Incredibly squishy unless the RNG gods are behind him.
This is a glass cannon Faceless Void build. He's, depending on keeping himself safe, hold on to that thought though, because we have a jump in, going to go for FNG off to the sidelines at the same time. Black Hole That's going to connect onto absolutely no one, and no one's going to run into it either. Goddamn, still channeling it, but here comes Affinish from the back line. Has an RP, has yet to cast it, though. It's going to be RTs to clean up 3 so far, and Magic Missile dodged by Puck for now. Going to land a 2-manned coil, will snap it onto RTs. Jump forward from Goretz, will not land a Hoof Stomp onto Resolution. Affinish will also snap it, looking for an RP. He's going to land it eventually onto Lil, but will it be enough to actually get this kill? RT's sitting right next to the Puck, will get the kill with the Pact. That's 4 for 1, and HellRaisers, after a terrible RP and a terrible black hole, it's just not enough as VP Polar, they're all glass cannons right now. If they had any sort of bulk at all, they could be turning these fights around, but I mean, there's no mech, there's no pipe. They just need more health, and that's not happening. It's 4 for 1.
Let's just take a moment to realize that you whiff a black hole, you have a pretty crummy RP, you dive tier 4 towers, and you still come out ahead in a 1 for 4 trade. That's ridiculous. That shouldn't be happening. That's not Dota. That's, I don't know, YOLO Devi.
And, I mean, goddamn was even not... Oh, Mag, once again. Don't be there, Mag. Why are you always there? Swap out from Dread onto Goretz. Not going to do anything, but Mag's already dead. But the black hole, like, it isn't like even like he channeled it and then realized there was nothing in there and then canceled it immediately. He was just sitting there channeling that black hole, which I suppose for VP was keeping them all back. So, like, zoning black hole. Is that a thing now? Are we casting zoning black holes? Because I think it worked out pretty decently for HellRaisers.
I suppose so. I mean, it stopped Virtus Pro Polar from walking forward, so I don't know, maybe? I mean, it is a very intimidating skill.
You don't want to get close to that. It's like gravity and shit, man. How does that work? No one knows. But anyway, Mag, of course, dying those previous times. No Chronosphere is the bulk of the team fight at this point for Virtus Pro Polar. And if Mag constantly gets picked off like that, then they have no chance at coming back into this game. RT's feeling pretty comfortable with the fresh eye of Scotty. He is going to be hunting. He's going to find Resolution. And this Puck is a very, very tough kill to take. He's instead going to settle for the Mirana. Oh, RT's... Oh, he showed himself just a little bit.
Yeah. Centaur now picks up a heart. Considering Goretz's start, this is insane amount of farm. He's managed to find the farm for Heart of Tarrasque in less than 10 minutes. That's ridiculous. And now he's one of the scariest heroes in the game. Although they don't have the highest net worth hero in this map, it's still plenty, and they have better farm distribution. Everybody has something and contributes well. Currently, Yule Scepter jump into the Stomp, Chronosphere onto Goretz. They're going to try to focus him down. He's pretty tanky, but not tanky enough. Glass Cannon faces Void, showing its strength, but now the RP onto 2 Illidan, as well as Resolution, are going to be dropped incredibly fast, and now Mag needs to book it. Mask of Man is trying to run away. Time walk forward, TP out. He should be able to make a clean escape. They get the vision, but no way to stun him out. They might try for it. Blink Skewer. Afro Ninja is going to destroy all of the trees over there, but doesn't find himself a faceless Void. Stomp on Artist, going to be purged out by the Shadow Dance, or not Shadow Dance, Dark Pact, and it's still going to be a tier 2 tower going for HellRaisers. They lose their Centaur, but honestly, he's the one that they're most willing to lose, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he's expendable. I mean, he has not had the best game, as you said, but he still has a Heart of Tarrasque, and every single time VP want to get a kill on the Centaur, they have to fully commit, as they just did. 1-man Chronosphere. I mean, they thought it was a free kill just because Centaur up on top lane, generally they're alone, but oh, blink forward from Affinish with the very short skewer. I have no idea what the hell that was, but it's fine. Striking fear into the heart of Lil. And Arrow actually going to follow up. Will land into Dread. What a hero, Dread. Taking the arrow for the Magnus. He's screwed up. Looks like everyone is going to be walking away from that for the HellRaisers, but yeah, 1-man Chronosphere, less than ideal openings from Mag, and you have to do that. In those situations, you expect the Centaur to be alone. You have to get a kill anywhere you could find it. And that was the only place where they could find it. Yes, they got the kill, but they did not expect HellRaisers to come and reinforce that quickly. I don't think anyone would have expected HellRaisers to reinforce that quickly. So Virtus Pro Polar once again getting caught off guard, and well, they still have a black hole HellRaisers to work with. Only RP was used there, and RP is RP, so it has a low-ish cooldown. It's going to be up another 5, and they're going to wait it out for Roshan. Don't know the timer on it just yet. Haven't been paying attention. Oh my god, only 10 seconds? So lucky for HellRaisers.
Well, lucky for them if they check it, and Centaur, oh, he's going to see this respawn. There you go. HellRaisers are going to see one of the shorter Roshan spawn timers in this tournament, and they'll know it's there. And they have a very good team about fighting in the Roshan pit, as well as taking it. They have decent sustain with the Slark, and good damage as well with the Vengeful Spirit. But for now, they don't seem interested in taking it.
Well, I mean, they should do that. In fact, I mean, they're pushing down the bottom lane and mid lane, just buying themselves a little bit of space. At least that should be the goal for the inevitable attack on Roshan. And I mean, they have a double damage rune right there as well, so If that doesn't say go get Roshan, then I don't know what does. Maybe they're looking for a pickoff. Slark with the Shadow Blade has been relatively active around the map, keeping tabs on Virtus Pro Polar, but actually goddamn's gonna be one in trouble. Dread's gonna swap him out, be a hero once again. Earth Splitter's going to be thrown, will snap back onto Dread, drop the Vengeful Spirit low, but that's kind of her job. It's a clean disengage for HellRaisers. Now they're not gonna feel as comfortable going for the Rosh, but you know, they drew out the Earth Splitter. Maybe that's just dangerous enough for them to say, hey, Roshan is up, let's go ahead and do it, especially with this double damage rune on Slark. I think Virtus Pro Polar can actually crash this, and if they do, this may represent their best chance at coming back into this game.
Yeah, it's incredibly risky, and now with the double damage on the Slark, instead of going for the Roshan, they're going to be hunting, looking to see if anybody's close, but they're not going to find them. Shadowblade used by the Slark, and they're still antsy about fully committing. Eventually, Artis is going to make his way into the pit, and this Roshan's going to melt, with the Medallion as well, as with that Wave of Terror, it's Slark soloing this, even without lifesteal. It's just going to be so easy for him.
He's hitting like 500 a pop, which is, you know, it's pretty good. And Roshan is not going to be contested at all from VPP. RT is going to grab a second life. It's going to be so hard for VP to kill off Slark once, let alone twice. I mean, he almost has a butterfly. And the Chronosphere doesn't really do anything for you at that point. RT's, I don't know if they could kill him. Like, it's going to take everything that VP have.
It really will, and if they drop everything onto him once, he's going to come back and then slay them all. Unfortunately enough for Slark, he doesn't have the Essence Shift when he comes back up, but still, it's going to be really strong for him. Stomp coming up from the Elder Titan will delay this push a little bit, landing onto 2 creeps as well as onto the Enigma, but they're going to throw an arrow into Artis. I'm not sure if that matters, but this might be an opening. Jump in from the center is going to go into Illidan. They do have a Black Hole available, not going to need to spend it, however. Skewer 4, Dream Cool onto 3, but it's more or less defensive. Earth Splitter going to be pretty nice. Onto 2, does a decent amount of damage. Artis healing up his ultimate. Jump in for the Chrono. Lands onto 2. The swap from Dread, however, it's going to mean that he's not able to kill anybody immediately after Ninja being focused down next, but isn't dying. Everybody's low. Nobody's falling. RP onto Resolution, trying to escape. Artis very low on HP. Won't be able to get the Slark before his Aegis is procced. Buyback from the Razor, wanting to get back in this engagement, but isn't even going to be engaged soon. Vengeful Spirit dying behind the tower. She's going to be the next one to fall. Yule Scepter up on the Slark. Stomp down. Artis is in a bit of a pickle, but does have the Dark Pick running, so you should be able to run out if you're a Stapler. Maybe even jump in. Got him very low, getting a soloed Black Hole onto Illidan, but it's enough to kill him off, and Goddamn might still survive. No, going bashed down by Mag, but now it's Skewer back onto the Faceless Void. Everybody is so low on HellRaisers, but they just don't care. Hard on the center, he's on the sidelines. TP out from FNG back to the base. Faceless Void buyback, but without any Chronosphere, they need to set up perfectly with this Yules. The Stomp's going to land again. The Dark Pack comes out from Artis with the Shadow Blade. He's invis. He's going to be bashed over. They now have detection with the Mirana's Gem. Leap away from Artis. Another Dark Pack center ultimate. Artis is going to be just fine.
So I have no idea who actually came ahead on that. Hey, they're going to find Afoninge. This might mean that Virtus Polar barely come out. Oh, Afoninge with the Shivas taking next to no damage. They're going to turn around for the Faceless Void as well. Artie's now Shadow Dancing, or, you know, Shadow Dance regenerating back up to full. He will be at full fighting condition very shortly. And Virtus Pro Polar were forced to use a hell of a lot of buybacks for that last fight. I mean, Void used it, Razor used it, and now Lil is going to take a fall as well. That's 4 down for VP. And HellRaisers, they lose their Enigma. Nothing else is really lost for them. RTs and Goretz still at relatively full amounts of HP, and FNG's got to be really careful. If Goretz feels like going in for this Mirana, then that Mirana's going down. Puck is going to jump in for just a little bit of damage. Artie's going to get tagged with an arrow, but this Mirana does next to no damage with only power treads. Even with the coil, there's no chance for them to actually kill off this Slark, and the Shadow Blade regenerating. Now it's going to pounce right back for Resolution. The damage will be enough. Puck has a buyback, and if he doesn't use it right now, this may very well be game. RT is going to get a double kill on the Leaping Mirana. Gem on the floor is going to get one for himself, one for Goretz. Butterfly being purchased in the enemy base. This Slark is unstoppable. They killed him once, barely, but that Aegis showing exactly what it's supposed to do. Now he's pretty much back up to full HP. Wants to get back in with a Stampede. Illidan is going to get pounced on. RP'd as well. Rest in peace, Illidan. No chance for survival there. FNG has somehow been surviving through all of this. Now he's going to buy back, but gets swapped back now from the Vengeful Spirit by quite a long distance. That's going to be the last casualty. And Virtus Pro Polar have thrown away a huge lead, and they will also throw away this series 2-0 versus the HellRaisers.
You can't get complacent in Dota. If you think you're ahead, think twice. Even with that amount of gold, it's still possible for them to come back, and they just find a couple of big team fight wins. And once Slark got ahead, he snowballed to victory. There just wasn't anything to do. Mag getting caught out of position one too many times. Resolution getting a little too ballsy as well. They just weren't able to do enough. And HellRaisers come out with a clean 2-0 when I thought for sure it was going to be a 1-1 about 20 minutes into the game.
Man, so HellRaisers do it, and Virtus Pro Polar, they have one more series ahead of them. This game wasn't as good as the first one, but hopefully Virtus Pro Polar can pull themselves back together and take a nice set next up against Moscow 5. So don't go anywhere, guys. That game is going to be coming up very shortly. We've been HeflaTV. I'm Mike Loris, joined by Grandis, and we will be right back for the third and final series of the day.